Welcome to the Membership Guys podcast. Kick-ass advice and tips for membership site owners.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 176 of the Membership Guys podcast, the number one show for all of the proven tips and advice you need to grow a successful membership website. That's what we're talking about today. We're talking about membership growth, in particular, how you can grow your membership by doing things that don't scale. So, of course, memberships are fantastic because they follow a one-to-many model, where rather than trading time for money on a one-on-one basis, you are serving a wider audience, and your skills, your knowledge, your expertise, and your time and resources are better leveraged. Because if you spend 10 hours creating a piece of content, that's not just 10 hours that one person or one client is feeling the benefit of. That's 10 hours that hundreds or even thousands of your members are feeling the benefit of, not just today, but for the rest of time, the rest of the existence of your membership. So everything you do in a membership is leveraged. Leverage is really the backbone of what makes this one-to-many model so attractive, and what makes memberships a superior business model, in my slightly biased opinion, to ones where you are trading time for money on a one-on-one basis. And because memberships are one-to-many, they are also one of the more scalable business models around, because there's not typically a per-user cost in terms of money or resources. Your expenses for your membership usually don't scale in proportion to your member numbers. If you doubled your number of members today, it probably wouldn't double your costs. Your costs would go up, your hosting fees might be a little more because you've got more people using your site, so maybe you want to beef up your resources. Perhaps your team need to do a few more hours if you've got people employed to handle customer service and stuff like that, because there's going to be a greater volume of support tickets, of discussions in the community, but there won't be exactly double. These things don't work in proportion, and that makes memberships extremely scalable. And as we said, the amount of time that you personally need to create a course, to create content, to develop your website and stuff like that, that isn't dependent on the number of members that you actually have. A course that takes 10 hours to create will take 10 hours to create whether you have 2 members who are going to view it, or whether you've got 2,002 members who are going to view it. However, sometimes to grow a membership, or indeed to grow a business of any type, you need to do things that won't scale. So things that you might not necessarily be able to realistically do for each individual member of your membership, but things that you could still roll into your strategy and then set some structure, set some boundaries around how you actually deliver this stuff. So this is largely things that actually require you to expend a little bit more of your personal attention, a little bit more of your time, either one-to-one, which again isn't necessarily scalable, or one-to-many but in much smaller groups. And while the sort of things that we talk about would be practically impossible to roll out to every single member of your site, just doing these things on a slightly smaller, slightly lesser scale can make a massive impact into the overall member experience and into the overall way in which people view and engage with your membership. So I'm going to talk about some examples here. The first of those are personal calls. So these are where you actually get on a call, you get on Zoom, you get on Skype or something like that, and you do calls either with small groups of members or with individuals. So you'd actually do one-on-one calls. So one example of that is to do group induction calls for new members. So as part of your onboarding, you could offer any new member the chance to book in to attend a group call with you or with your community manager if you have one. So that not only can they ask questions about anything they're unsure of, they also get to connect with other members on the call too and start to forge those relationships. And this also helps them get a grasp of the fact that actually the membership isn't just a portal to get access to you. The membership is somewhere where they are going to connect with other people who might be able to help them out just as well or even better than you. So this can be a big difference maker, getting people onto an induction call after they've just joined your site. Be a huge difference maker in terms of getting members engaged with your site early and also clearing up any confusion or issues that they might have during those all important first few days and weeks. Now, of course, you might think, okay, if I start offering these calls, I'm going to be spending all of my time on the phone with small groups of people. However, you need to realize that not every new person who joins your site is actually going to book onto one of these calls. And while you might have thousands of members currently in your membership, if you are just offering this to new members, then it's not like you're suddenly going to get 2,000 requests for a call with you. It's going to be far more manageable because you're only offering them at the early stage in that new member journey. So that definitely limits the amount of people who are even offered this. And then the amount of people who take it up will be an even smaller number still. And because you do these calls in small groups, it becomes far more manageable. You might also, however, consider offering short one-to-one calls too, not just for members who are new, but also for members at different key points of their journey. So again, you see this, it's actually picking the points in people's journeys where they may just need that little bit more personal interaction with you to improve their chances of getting success, to improve their likelihood of sticking around. You don't just have a blanket open call for anyone to hop on the phone with you at any time. You control this, you target this, and in doing so it becomes far more scalable than just having an open diary for anyone to book into whenever they want. So these aren't coaching calls. They're an opportunity for you to provide some concise feedback and direction to those members, but also to pinpoint the specific issues and questions that someone has so that you can give them some clarity on what their priorities should be in terms of what content to consume, in terms of what steps to take inside your membership. And if you send them off down that right path, then again, they're far more likely to get a positive outcome, which means they're far more likely to stick around. And if all that's cost you is 15 minutes out of your day, then that's a very small price to pay for increasing your member lifetime value. An example of this is inside our own membership, membersiteacademy.com. A big part of what we offer is the membership roadmap. That's our flagship course that takes people step by step from idea through to launch and beyond. Now, once someone has actually launched their membership site, we encourage them to book in a short one-on-one call with myself or with Callie, where we chat for 15 minutes or so to review their next steps. Now that's because even though the membership roadmap is fairly linear, what comes after the roadmap isn't. It's so dependent on individual circumstances. So the next steps that someone should take are a little more bespoke. Now, of course, there are some things on the site that we do to give people direction according to their circumstances, but every now and then someone has either some unique aspects of what they're doing, or there's just other things they're not totally clear on. And so getting on the phone for 15 minutes to get that clarity, to help them continue on the right path and increase the chance that they'll stick around, it's worth doing for us, and it just helps them cut through a lot of that self-discovery and that research that they would need to do themselves. 15 minutes isn't very long, but you can accomplish a lot when that time is one-on-one and when that time is focused. And of course, helping people get to where they need to go more effectively reduces the overwhelm of them having to figure it out for themselves, which ultimately prolongs their tenure as a member and reduces churn. And offering these short personal calls can also be highly effective for re-engaging members who are slipping away too. So if you have something set up that actually helps you identify members who maybe they haven't logged in for 60 days or 30 days or something, then something you might want to consider offering is the chance to have a 15-minute catch-up call with you. You can actually automate some of this stuff if you're using a service like Intercom or like MemberScore, where actually it pinpoints people who haven't been engaged and can automatically email them saying, hey, we notice you haven't logged in for a while, or we notice you haven't posted in the forum or viewed any of our content for a long time. How about we hop on a call? If you're having problems, if you're a bit stuck, how about we hop on a call for 10-15 minutes and let's see if we can get you unstuck? Because you're setting specifications on those calls, they are 15 minutes maximum. You can use a service like Acuity Scheduling or like Calendly to actually have blocks, 15-minute blocks that people can schedule themselves into. You can restrict the availability of those calls to specific days. So it's not just open, it's not out of control, it's very managed. You can decide that you're going to have 4 days out of your month, and then on those days between the hours of 10 a.m. and 3 p.m., you are going to make yourself available for a maximum of 8 15-minute phone calls, or 10 or 20 15-minute phone calls. So you're in control of it. It's something that you can schedule around everything else that you're doing. And in that way, it becomes a bit more scalable, a lot more manageable. And this applies whether you're doing one-on-one calls or whether you're doing group calls. Obviously, group calls enable you to serve a greater number of people, but it does restrict you from being able to give that little more one-on-one attention. So it is down to you to really examine the member journey. Think about points at which a little bit of manual personal intervention from you would make a massive difference, would really move the needle versus just letting people figure things out and muddle on their own. And then decide, okay, what will it take? Could I do a group call at this point? Or do I offer up the chance for someone to have a little one-on-one time with me? With some thought, with some structure, with some organization and efficient management, you can deliver that one-on-one attention in a one-to-many environment. So that's one thing that traditionally doesn't scale that is well worth exploring in your own membership. The next thing are welcome videos, so personalized videos. So again, you'll see this theme, the personal touch. And really, that's because the personal touch, the thing that usually isn't scalable in your membership, is you. It's your involvement. It's you interacting with people. And that's actually one of the arguments against the one-to-many model, is the fact that actually the human element, the one-on-one relationships, are nowhere near, in most cases, as strong as they would be in a one-to-one business model. So what we're really talking about here is how you actually inject yourself on a personal one-on-one basis into a one-to-many model. So great way of doing that is with personalized videos. Now we're talking here mostly about personalized welcome videos, because when someone's a new member, sending a little 30-second personal video message from you as part of your onboarding process is such a great way of adding a human touch. And again, it's less actual work, it's less effort for you than, for example, doing a 15-minute welcome call, but it's something that people generally don't expect, and it's something that will take them by surprise, that will actually make them think, wow, this is actually really cool. Imagine if you bought a brand new MacBook or a brand new iPhone and you got a little personal video from Tim Cook thanking you, telling you how much they appreciate the fact that you've just bought this, and calling you by name so you knew it wasn't just a pre-recorded thing that everything got. That would kind of knock you for six, right? Because nobody expects it. Those sorts of welcome videos, short 30-second personal messages, welcoming a new member to your membership, encouraging them to dive into the community, letting them know how happy you are that they joined. And when you tell them you're happy that they've joined, they can actually see that this is true, because they see what, hopefully, is a smiling face saying these words. It's not just voiceless text in an email saying platitudes, thank you so much for joining. It's actually a smiling, happy face saying, thank you, I appreciate you, welcome to the family. That sort of personal touch goes such a long way. It is unexpected and in many cases unprecedented in this age of automation, chatbots, artificial intelligence, especially in a membership where most people who join a membership, they are aware that they're joining a crowd. They are aware that it's one-to-many. They're not expecting that personal connection, that personal effort from you. Even if that effort only amounts to a 30-second video, that's still time you've taken out of your day. It's still you thinking about them specifically, reaching out, making an effort, going that extra mile, or even just that extra inch that so many people do not do. Again, this isn't limited to welcoming new members. So when we're talking about the group calls, the intro calls, a lot of the time we're talking about them in the context of onboarding, bringing on new members. We mainly talk about them in that context because that first impression is so crucial and it's such a pivotal time in the member life cycle. But you can do this stuff at any point of the member's journey. A quick personal video to members celebrating an achievement, a milestone, a birthday, or just acknowledging someone for their contributions to your community. Hey, I just want to send you this very quick video. I've been meaning to say for ages, thank you so much for everything you do in our community. It doesn't go unnoticed. I appreciate the fact you always say hello to new members and you always try to be helpful. You're such an important part of the community. We value you. Thank you. That How long did that take? 20 seconds at most? And a lot of times the apps that you can use to record these personal videos, they're on your mobile device. You pull out your phone. If I'd had my phone out as I was saying those words with the record button going, that could be such a huge difference maker in terms of how someone views, how someone engages with our membership. And it's taken me no time at all. It can make such a huge impact. It gets talked about. It makes people feel special, feel valued, like they're part of something. They're appreciated, and they're not just a number on a list. Now, a great tool for doing these type of videos is Bonjoro. Bonjoro.com. Bonjoro.com. It's what we use here at Member Site Academy. Make sure you check it out. Fantastic app. And again, it's just on your mobile device. Pull it out, get the email, hit record, send, and make a difference to someone's day. Again, because you can do that quite quickly, you can set aside 30 minutes every morning to do 10 30-second videos. That's 10 members you are making a personal connection with. You do that twice a week, that's 20 members you can make a personal connection with. Maybe half of those are new members, the other half could just be people you want to catch up with, or people who've been slipping away, or someone who's just celebrating a big win in their business, in their life, a goal they've achieved. Personalized videos are a great way of getting that one-on-one connection that usually isn't scalable, again, in a more manageable way within the context and the confines of a one-to-many model. Next thing you might try are doing live tours of your memberships, or live video walkthrough tours. Now, as much as I love memberships, as great as memberships are, they can be tricky. They can be very tricky to sell because typically a membership is all encompassing. A membership is a container for all of these amazing things. It's not a tightly defined product. If you're selling a course or an ebook or a piece of software, it's very tightly defined. This is very specifically what the course will do. Here are the lessons. Here's the table of contents in my book. Here are the features of my software. Here's the buttons you click. With a membership, you usually don't have such a tight definition. There's usually just a whole bunch of stuff in there. Too much for you just to single out a few parts as the basis for your marketing and for your sales copy. Again, Member Site Academy, we've got 30 odd different courses in there. If we only talked about one course, that's ignoring 30 odd other courses, plus all the workshops, plus the Q&As, plus the private coaching, and the community, and the discount. You see what I mean? There's so much in there. So usually when you're promoting your membership, you're talking in generalities a lot more than you would do with other types of products. And that causes challenges on two fronts. Firstly, it can be really, really difficult to express just how much value is on offer. Because even if you did list every single course, every resource, every feature, every benefit in enough detail to really do them justice and to really show how great each and everything is, you're going to end up with a sales page a mile long that nobody will read anyway. So that's the first challenge. The second challenge is that the vagueness around what memberships actually consist of means that your potential customers don't really know what you mean in most cases when you're asking them to join your membership. It's kind of like, hey, come join my membership. It's like, yeah, I would if I knew what that actually meant. It's like, come in my building. Okay. Where's the building? What's in it? What rooms are there? Why do you want me in that building? What's going to happen to me when I'm in there? So this is where it can be extremely useful to be able to actually take someone by the hand, in a virtual sense, and then walk them step by step through what's inside your site. It's far easier to show than to tell when it comes to memberships. This is why we advocate for the use of behind the scenes videos. So this is where you actually do a screen recording using something like Camtasia or ScreenFlow, where you actually record you navigating around your membership, narrating as you go, pinpointing the different stuff that's on the inside. Now, those types of videos are consistently one of the most effective marketing assets that a membership site owner can have in their arsenal. But you can go one better. And actually, rather than just recording a single behind the scenes video and then putting it into your email series or having it somewhere on your sales page or whatever, you could actually conduct that little behind the scenes tour live via a webinar, via something like Facebook Live, where you're walking through it in real time. So not only do you get the benefit of being able to show people what's on the inside, but you're also getting that real-time feedback. You're getting real-time questions that you can answer, and you have the opportunity to see what obstacles, what things are in the way of people actually joining your site, and then to handle those objections on the call. So if there is any confusion about what you get, if there is something that maybe your sales page doesn't address but you've never thought of, if you can actually squash that on the call, that could be the difference between someone joining and someone not joining. So those types of live tours can be fantastic. And of course, there's no limit to how many people can attend. So you can do those as a webinar where people need to register, and maybe you do one twice a month, or you do one every month, or you do one just as part of a launch promo, or as part of a challenge or something like that. And you either do it as a webinar that people have to register their interest to attend, or you just do it as an open broadcast via Facebook Live, where absolutely anybody who follows your page or who gets the link can come and watch and comment and ask questions and so on. These type of live calls, again, it is still you needing to sit down at a computer and to put that time in. And if you're having to repeat this a couple of times a month or once every month, then it's not as leveraged a use of your time as what we were talking about earlier, recording courses that then go into your membership. But the benefit of actually doing this live and in real time outweighs the reduced scalability. And so it's definitely well worth doing. The fourth thing that you can do that typically doesn't scale is to offer facilitation and client services. Now, this isn't something that's going to be right for everyone. You know, if you start a membership to get away from ever having to deal with another client one-on-one ever again, you can kind of skip the next few minutes, because this is kind of probably going to be the subject of recurring nightmares that you have about having to go back to working with these dreadful clients. So it's not going to be right for everyone. But if your membership is teaching people how to complete a particular task, like maybe you're teaching people how to set up something technical, or design a logo, edit videos, edit podcasts, and so on, then you might consider either having a done-for-you service where someone can just pay you to go away and complete that task for them, or maybe you have a done-with-you service offering where actually you hold their hand. So with done-for-you, it's pretty straightforward. You take the tasks that otherwise someone would have to learn how to do themselves, and you charge them for you to do it for them instead. Done-with-you is kind of a halfway point, so you're providing personal support, guidance, and assistance as that member works through the tasks themselves, or even as they progress through a course. So you can have a done-with-you service where you're basically just being a personal tutor who is available and who provides guidance and additional advice to someone as they work through the training material inside your membership. Now, these kind of things, done with you, done for you, definitely don't scale as well as a membership does, but if you can help people fast forward through a particularly tricky part of a larger journey, then that increases their chances of success. Because if there are 10 stages towards someone reaching their ultimate goal, and one of those stages is just a nightmare in terms of it being really technical or really tricky to progress through, then that may very well become a sticking point that causes your members to leave. If they can't get beyond a certain stage because it's too difficult, it's taking them too long, then if you have a service that gets them over that hump and the rest of that journey is smooth sailing, then those guys are going to be with you for longer. So while it's not scalable, it could be something very topic dependent. So it really does require you to think about your own circumstances as to whether this is going to be appropriate to you. But in the right circumstances, it can be something that can majorly change the trajectory of your membership and increase the likelihood that your members will stick around. And if that happens, it can definitely be worth it. Either you providing the service or partnering up with people who can provide that service on your behalf. And the final thing that's not really scalable, but is certainly worth doing, are member meetups. Meeting up with your members in person, so getting out from behind the computer and actually, seeing other human beings. They're a great way of not only bringing members together and having a little bit of fun, but also helping them to build and strengthen relationships with each other. We say this all the time. Members come for the content, but they stay for the community. Community is so crucial. building those relationships, forming those connections. Those are the sort of things that last years and years beyond the point at which someone has exhausted the content in your membership. So if you can actually help further strengthen those relationships, speed up those connections and building those relationships between your members, then they're more likely to be supportive and help each other out inside your community. And if your community's better, it's got more of that sticky factor, then people are more likely to stay for longer. It also adds a human aspect to your members' relationship with you too. Again, there's that human personal connection. Because if you're the big expert, you're the teacher, the community leader or whatever, then there can sometimes be a little bit of a divide between you and your members. That's not always necessarily a bad thing. Of course, if you're running a membership that is centered around your expertise, then you want to be perceived as an expert, right? But you also don't want to be completely detached. You don't want to be totally inaccessible. So putting a human face on your expertise, actually spending some time with these people, making them realize you're just like them. It's just human to human, people to people. You can relate to them. They can relate to you, then again, you're going to foster a lot more of that community spirit. And of course, other people on the outside looking in, if they see that your members are coming together, that they're not just people in a forum or part of a membership, they are a community, there are friendships going on, they're coming together, they're meeting up, they're relaxing, they're having fun. That makes your membership look like the place to be, right? It looks like somewhere you want to be part of. It's a party you want to attend. And these sort of meetups don't have to be too complicated to set up. You can go all out. You can hire a function room. You can cater an event. You can arrange drinks. You can book entertainment. Or you can just reserve a couple of booths or tables at a bar or restaurant and then pick up the tab at the end of the night. The important thing is just bringing people together, bringing your members together. And if you're going to events or to conferences and so on, if you're already going to those sorts of things and you know that your members might be in town, then that's a perfect opportunity to arrange a meetup, to piggyback on the fact that there'll be a lot of people in town for that event, or that you'll be in a location that you otherwise wouldn't be in. So usually we do something when we go to events like Social Media Marketing World in San Diego. It's not like we're in San Diego every day. So when we're there, we take advantage of the fact that we're in the US, where a lot of our members are, and that we're in a town, a city that we normally wouldn't be in. And we also take advantage of the fact that, there's 5,000 people at Social Media Marketing World, and we can pretty much bet our backsides that at least a handful of those 5,000 people are going to be Academy members. And we do the same things at other events. Indeed, we were in London at the beginning of this month for Youpreneur Summit, which is hosted by Chris Ducker. So we had a little meetup with our Academy members who were in town for that event too. Again, nothing complicated, nothing too formal. It was just, here's a time, here's a location, let's get together for an hour or two, grab some drinks, have a chat, and get to know each other a little bit better. Member meetups certainly aren't scalable. You can't tour every single town and have every single member in your membership. And you're not going to be able to cater to every single member inside your membership or find one central location that's convenient for absolutely everybody. But again, the human connection element, the community building element, the impression it gives the wider world of your membership and the desire it will then create for other people to want to be a part of that party, a part of that community, that makes it well worth the extra effort to arrange these sort of meetups. And speaking of meetups, speaking of events, we've got the ultimate member meetup happening next year in September 2019, right here in the UK. We're going to be running a big conference. The only conference centered around membership growth is happening in our hometown, Newcastle upon Tyne, on September 11th to 12th, 2019. Retain Live. It is a 2-day membership growth conference where we're going to have hundreds and hundreds of attendees, membership site owners from all over the world descending on my hometown, Newcastle upon Tyne, next September, to not only get the scoop, the skinny on all of the tactics, all of the strategies and advice and actionable stuff that is going to help them to grow and scale their membership. Not only are they getting all of that, it's also one huge meetup. because all that content, all that advice and stuff's great, but the real value at these sorts of things and the real value at Retain Live 2019 is going to be in our members and our attendees connecting with each other, learning from each other, building relationships with other membership site owners in different industries from different backgrounds. It's going to be a phenomenal event. And so if you want to come along to the ultimate member meetup and to the only conference laser focused on membership growth, head over to retainlive.com for all the details and to grab your ticket. This podcast is going out in November 2019. So right now we have super early bird pricing on our tickets. Seriously, head to retainlive.com, RETAIN live.com. You're going to be kind of blown away by how ridiculously no-brainer the cost of our super early bird tickets are. So head on over, grab your ticket, and I'll see you September 11th to 12th in Newcastle upon Tyne next year, 2019, for Retain Live. It is going to be incredible. So you want to see the power of member meetups, the power of actually having your community, your audience come together. RetainLive.com is going to be a perfect example of it. But even if you're one of those unlucky souls who doesn't come along to the event, I certainly encourage you to explore the idea of holding member meetups for your own community too. Not necessarily the most scalable thing in the world, but they add such a valuable dimension to your community. So to recap, 5 things that aren't typically scalable, but that can add massive value to your membership and help you to really accelerate its growth. 1, personal calls, whether they're individual or small group calls, inductions, or quick 15-minute catch-up calls at key points in the member journey. Number 2, personalized videos that you send to your new members or to members who are celebrating milestones, successes, birthdays, anniversaries. So these are great to send out to people who are renewing their annual membership and so on. Number 3, live behind the scenes tours as delivered as either a webinar or a Facebook Live where you actually screencast, you walk people through what's inside your membership. That can help you get past some of the issues that are caused by the fact that memberships are these big all-encompassing products that can sometimes be a little difficult to explain. Showing is so much more effective than telling, and doing it live gives you the opportunity to overcome some sales objections. Number 4, offer facilitation and one-on-one client services. If you know that there's a particular point of your member journey, of their learning experience, of their progress towards their goals, that is a sticking point where they would really benefit from some facilitation or from being able to pay someone to get them past that point, to do the stuff for them, then you can monetize that. You can turn it into a done for you or a done with you service that not only is going to increase your business's revenue, but is also going to give people that little bit of extra helping hand that helps them get to that next stage and may very well increase the chances they'll stick around longer and get greater levels of success. And then finally, member meetups, particularly for anyone who's traveling around or going to other events and conferences where your audience may already be. Just organize a little get-together. Book a table at a restaurant, have a meal with your members. Bring these guys together so they can connect in real life. That can go such a long way to help them build the sort of relationships that take your community to the next level. And if you want to see that on steroids, if you want to come to the ultimate member meetup and the only conference that is entirely focused around membership growth, get yourself to retainlive.com and pick up your tickets for the Retain Conference September 11th and 12th, 2019 in Newcastle upon Tyne in England. That's my hometown. We're going to have an incredible lineup of speakers. Everyone on that stage is going to either be a successful membership owner or part of the team from successful memberships. So there's no inspirational fluff. There's none of that irrelevant content or real beginner level stuff. This is all focused on membership growth from people who talk the talk and walk the walk. And of course, you're going to get boatloads of guidance, instruction, and advice from myself and from Callie and some of our friends too. So, plus, as we said, those connections, just meeting up with other membership site owners from all over the world, every different industry imaginable, sharing tips, sharing lessons they've learned, what's worked for them, what hasn't, sharing ideas. Man, it's going to be amazing. I hope you can sense the excitement in my voice because I'm really looking forward to it. This is going to be so much fun. It's going to be so valuable. retainlive.com. Have I said that URL enough? You know where to go. Get it sorted. Hopefully, I'll see you here next year. That's it from me for this episode. Hopefully, you've got some ideas from this about how you can introduce stuff that maybe you've been avoiding because you've thought, but memberships is supposed to be one-to-many. It's not supposed to be too personal. It's not supposed to take up too much of my time. Hopefully what we talked about here, you've been able to see not only how some of the ideas we've come up with for things that aren't as scalable are still worth doing, and also how you can do these things without it totally overtaking your life and totally compromising the one-to-many model that you are working with. So I do hope you've got some good ideas. As always, I would love to hear from you. Hit me up on Twitter at Membership Guys, or if you're in our free Facebook group, let me know what you thought of today's episode. Let me know if you're going to be going to Retain Live next year. But more importantly, let me know what you thought of today's episode. Are you doing some of these things already? What sort of results are you getting? What elements do that add to your membership? Have you been to member meetups? Have you been on the other side of this sort of stuff? How's it made you feel? Let me know if you're in our free Facebook group. You can either type Membership Mastermind into the Facebook app, so just search for that on Facebook. You'll find our group. There's over 10,000 membership site owners in there. Or in your browser, type talkmemberships.com. That'll redirect you to the right place. And of course, if you're an Academy member, you know we're going to be discussing this in more detail inside the Academy Community Forum too. So jump into that discussion as well. That's it from me. Thank you so much for listening. If you are a first-time listener, hopefully you've enjoyed today's episode enough to hit that subscribe button in your podcast app. If you're a return listener, you know I love you. Thank you for listening. Thanks for your continued support and for subscribing to the podcast. I truly appreciate it. I'll be back again next week with another installment of proven practical tips and advice for growing your membership right here on the Membership Guys podcast. If you've enjoyed today's episode of the Membership Guys podcast, we invite you to check out the membersiteacademy.com. The Member Site Academy is the essential resource for anyone at any stage of starting, growing, and running a membership website. So whether you're still figuring out what your idea is going to be, or whether your website is already up and running and you're just looking for ways to grow it and attract new members, then the Member Site Academy can help you to get to the next level. With our extensive course library, monthly training, exclusive member-only discounts, perks and tools, and a supportive, active community to help you along the way with feedback, encouragement and advice, the Member Site Academy is the perfect place to be for anyone looking to start, manage and grow a successful membership website. So check it out at membersiteacademy.com.